Hello guys, and welcome back to another top 5 video. And in this video we're going to do the top 5 strongest modded dinos in Path of Titans. This will just be my opinion, so if you guys don't agree with my list, you can give me your list in the comments below. So basically when I do this list, I'm just going off most of their stats, I'm going off just PvP experience and just overall experience I have with these creatures. Coming in at number 5, we have the Dinos. I put him in the top 5 because he is actually very strong, and I just love the way he looks. He has good intimidation factor, and overall he is very good. So the Dinos has 1000 max health. That is the same health that a T-Rex has. So he does have a lot of health. But if you guys didn't know this, his combat weight is 7,200. So if you guys don't know, you can actually check in-game the stats of dinos. I did make a video on that. So when I checked it in-game, his combat weight, it is 7,200. That is possibly the second highest combat weight in the modded dino category, or any category. I think the only one that weighs more than him is the Argent. Now I put him in at number 5 because obviously 7,200 combat weight with 1000 health makes him an absolute beast. But it doesn't make them invincible. I've seen pretty good Sarco players take out pretty good Dinos players, and it really depends on your fighting style and how you use them. Now for some reason, I don't know if he's bugged or if my controller's bugged, but I can't swim fast with this guy. I don't know if it's just him glitched out or what. For his moveset, he does have a bite and he has a bone snap, so you can do a bone break, which is good, and the bite does good damage as well. With 7,200 combat weight, that bite is going to do a shitload of damage. Sadly, I don't have the exact number for his bite damage, but I know it does a lot. For back limb, he has a striking lunge, which also deals a bone break. So that's why I think it's really good, because he has a regular bone break bite, and then he has a lunging bone break. So definitely worth it. Tail swipe does medium knockback with low damage. And then you can either put Streamline to increase swimming speed, or give him thick scales, or basking, which increases his speed on land. That's really your preference. Overall, definitely a solid creature, and he definitely deserves to be in the top 5. Coming in at number 4, we have the Ophis. The Ophis, which most considered OP, some considered balanced, some consider whatever, but I put him in at number 4 because he is very strong. Now the downside to the Ophis is on land, he is very slow, and you can see how fast his stamina drains. We literally barely walk 2 feet. And my stamina is literally about to be empty. I didn't even make it to the water. So on land, this guy, I mean, he could still do damage if you face tank, but obviously if you're fighting something fast, then you most likely will get fucked up. So this guy is made strictly for the water, so we're gonna get him in the water real quick. Now when it comes to his moveset, he doesn't have that much, but they actually do a good amount of damage. So for the head attacks, he has a Venom Bite, a regular bite, and a Shattering Lunge, which also deals Bone Break. The Shattering Lunge does up to 100 damage, with about 10 seconds or more of Bone Break. The Venom Bite does 55 damage with 0.25 Venom. If you guys don't know, Venom actually stops your stamina from regenning, so if you're fighting something and he has a lot of Venom on him, his stamina will not regen as long as he has the Venom, and he will not be able to go back. So it's really good to use against enemies that are really using a lot of their stamina, such as Sarcos and stuff like that. And then his regular bite attack does 80 damage, which is one of the highest bite damages in the game. I think it used to be 90. They must have dropped it by 10. But it's definitely definitely one of the highest bites in the game. He has a combat weight of 7,000 with 1,000 health. So that's actually the same as a T-Rex, because the T-Rex also has 1,000 health with 7,000 combat weight. So you could do a lot of damage. You can actually face tank. The advantage that you would have over a T-Rex is you can move around in water, and if he chases you in water, then that'll be his big mistake. He has the highest swim speed in the modded dino category out of all the modded dinos, so this is definitely one guy you would love to have in your arsenal if you do plan to grow a strong modded dino army. You can definitely have one of these guys with you. Coming in at number 3, we have the Giga. Now I was debating where to put the Giga on the list, but I had put him in at number 3 because he is a solid dino and he does have a lot of moves, and we're going to go over it really quickly. So although from the camera view the Giga does not look that big, he is quite fair in size. He's not as big as the T-Rex. He did, after he got his last rework, they did make him a little bit smaller to be more accurate. But overall, he is still very intimidating, definitely a big apex to worry about. The Giga has 900 health with 6,750 combat weight, so it's a little bit less than the Rex, but overall, still very strong. As you can see, he has a lot of movesets. He has, you know, a ripping bite, a regular bite, a charge bite. His regular bite does 80 damage, which is the same as the Ophis. So the Ophis and the Giga have the highest bite damage in the game out of any other dinos or creatures. His charge bite does up to 50 damage with 1x bleed, and his ripping bite does up to 25 damage with 0.5 bleed. He has hide for marathon runner, which increases his stamina, or he has thick scales, which increases his defense. For legs, he has a left kick or a right kick. So when those little ankle biters, when they get under you and you can't really hit them with your tail or anything, you can back kick them, donkey kick them, whatever, and it does a fair amount of damage. It does 40 damage per kick. So if you're getting chewed up by, let's say, a Campto, and you want to back kick them and just smack them across the beach, you would do 40 damage per hit. With over 6,700 combat weight, that's going to do a lot of damage to them or anyone smaller than you, especially those annoying ankle biters. For back limb, he does have a charge attack that does 80 damage per tick, which is pretty good. His tail attack only does 30 damage, which is average, and then he has a voice attack, which increases the defense of all cars in your group within 30 meters for 1 minute, able to stack up 3 times. So overall, he has a solid moveset, and I really like that about him. So I had to put him in at number 3. But for number 2, we have the Carcharodon, or however you say his name, this ugly guy right here. I was debating whether I should put him before or after the Giga, but I just feel like overall, the car is really good. I think he's faster, more agile than the Giga, and I think he can do more damage. Now this guy does have 800 health with 6,500 combat weight. So definitely a little bit less than the Giga, but overall very strong, mainly because his attacks are very fast. You can see how fast his bites would be back to back. For his moveset, he does have a good amount of moves. He has a bite attack that does 60 damage. And then he has the laceration bite, which does 30 damage with 1 bleed. For front limb, he has a claw attack. For hide, he has thick scales or thin scales. For back limb, he has the stomp right leg, stomp left leg, or the charge attack. The stomps, I believe, do 45 damage per stomp, so it's kind of similar to the Giga, where if you have any ankle biters trying to get under you or tail ride you and bite through your legs and you can't really hit them, you can stomp on them and it does do a good amount of damage. And then he has a tail attack that can do up to 45 damage. The car is definitely what some would consider broken in the game. Some consider him really good, some actually consider him pretty weak. It all depends on your playstyle, how you play him, how you go against him, and all that stuff. But overall, I think he is very good. I'd rather use him than to use a T-Rex or Giga, mainly because he's more agile, he's faster, he attacks faster, he's more movesets, and I think he's just, in my opinion, he's overall better in many ways. So I had to put him in at number 2. And then coming in at number 1, you guys probably guessed it, the Argent. Argent, obviously the biggest modded dino, and he probably does the most damage, so we're going to go over his stats really quickly. So the Argent, even though he is very slow, especially if you do a defense build, what I love about him is just his intimidation factor, how you're able to even go into deep waters and still not even look like you're drowning, which is pretty good. So if you're getting chased, any smaller creatures that would try to follow you in deep waters, they will just get stuck in the swimming animation. Then you can just pimp smack them with your tail, or do whatever you want. The bad thing I don't like about him though is if you're in an area like this, for example, with a lot of trees, you will get blinded when you move your camera around by all these trees and bushes, which can get annoying when you're trying to fight stuff, especially with all the fog and the smoke and the dark water. It can get very frustrating. But the Argent does have 2,000 max health, which is the highest, double the T-Rex's health. He has a combat weight of 17,500 according to the stat chart, which is a lot. That is a lot of combat weight, 17,000. For his moveset, he actually has some pretty decent moves. You just have to know how to land them. So for the headbutt, he has a quick headbutt attack that does up to 40 damage. Really hard to land the headbutt attack because of his long neck and how high up in the air he is. If you're trying to hit a smaller dino with the headbutt attack, they most likely will either miss or they'll dodge it. For front limb, you have the front stomp, which does bone break. It does 50 damage per stomp and bone break you. So that's actually pretty good and pretty scary. For metabolism, he can eat berries, or he can eat just about everything, or he can eat berries and fruit. For the hide, he has thin hide or solidified hide, which increases his bleed heal rate at the cost of defense. Now, the one thing I would say this hide is kind of important, because if you're getting jumped by a pack, they're going to try to bleed you to death, because obviously you can't really face tank this thing, so they would need to come up with strategies on how to kill you. The Argent is actually not that hard to kill, so he's not OP or God mode or anything like that. He's actually pretty easy to kill, but if you know how to use the Argent, you can put up a good fight at least. For back limb, he has another back stomp, which also does 50 damage. So he back stomps twice. That does 50, 50. That's 100 damage, basically, for the whole move if you land both stomps. The tail attack does up to 70 damage, which I believe is the highest damage for a tail attack out of every creature in the game. And let me tell you, don't underestimate that tail attack. You really want to use that because they're going to try to keep their distance from you when they're behind you because they don't want to get back stomped, but then that tail attack will come in handy. And then for voice, you have Solidifying Bellow. This is probably the best one. So it increases your armor of all modded sauropods in your group within 30 meters for 40 seconds. What it also does is a huge front stomp with both legs, and that does up to 1,000 damage. There's literally, I don't think there's any dinosaur or creature in the game that can withstand a 1,000 damage move from a 17,500 combat weight Argent. That move is basically an instant kill for whoever's in front of you, and it's really, really effective. So I had to put the Argent in at number 1, obviously. But yeah, that's my list. If you guys agree with my list, let me know. If you don't agree with my list, give me your own list in the comments below. Remember, this is just my opinion based on just the, me playing these guys, the stats overall, and just how much I just enjoy these modded creatures. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know any ideas of what list you want me to do next, and I hope to see you guys in future videos. Thank you for watching. Peace.